bull's got his head down. He's wanting to get his head up. He's going to take him anyway.
Example of why you may not want to become a bull rider.
That's why.
Let's go. I wake up to a little bit of drool on my pillow, feel like it's gonna be a bad day. Yeah, I'm tired of shit, and the coffee ain't hit yet, damn, ain't that great. I don't wanna go to work, cause my boss is a jerk, and I'm not even that paid. I need a change in my life, cause I don't feel alive, and there's nothing that makes me happy. Hold my beer for a minute, I'm about to quit my job, cash in for a ticket. I'm going on a trip and I don't plan to visit. I'm gonna stay there till I feel like I'm winning, and this is just the beginning. I need a big change, help me feel like living. I need a big swing, home runs I'm hitting, and I'll never look back, moving on till I get it all. And we all got dreams, we all want things, but what you gonna do for it? How you gonna move for it? What you gonna be? And do you believe you can do anything? But what you gonna do for it? How you gonna move for it? What you gonna be? My strife, my right to fight, to die on. And this is my game to play, to claim a brand new name, And I ain't gonna lie to you, I'm a bit nervous that I might screw everything up that I've ever done. But what's the point of living if you ain't having fun? I guess I'll try this, try that, might miss, gotta find what I'm good at. I guess I look here, look there, over where am I scared, where am I at? I gotta make it in this life, whatever makes me happy, know I'm doing things right. Sipping in the summer on a goose and Sprite, or find a nightclub for the end of the night, And we all got dreams, we all want things, but what you gonna do for it? How you gonna move for it? What you gonna be? And do you believe you can do anything? But what you gonna do for it? How you gonna move for it? What you gonna be?
Fearless rides an infectious personality. That day, he rode a bull named Hard Times, but was thrown violently to the ground. The bull's hooves struck him in the chest, causing fatal injuries despite his protective gear. Mason's passing devastated the rodeo community. Ranked 18th in the world at the time, he was a rising star whose life was tragically cut short. Fellow riders remembered his humor, determination, and kindness, mourning not only his skill, but the person he was.
The clock only stops when the rider is thrown off or dismounts. This 8-second ride is considered the heart and soul of professional bull riding competition. Ranked 18th in the world, Mason was well on his way to...
Number 3, Dylan Grant, a promising life cut short. April 3rd, 2025, Wharton County Youth Fair, Texas. Dylan Grant, a 24-year-old bull rider from Wyoming, had been competing since 2018 and recently won the Mountain States Circuit Finals Rodeo. Dylan's style was smooth and his demeanor calm, even under pressure. During his ride at the Extreme Bulls event, Dylan was thrown from his bull and trampled. Despite immediate medical attention and airlift to a Houston hospital, he succumbed to his injuries. The rodeo community mourned the loss of a promising young athlete whose dedication and talent inspired many. Footage of Dylan riding, highlights of competitions, and memorials. Number 4, Zachary Nagiel, a miraculous survival, February 7th, 2025, Palmetto, Florida. Zachary Nagiel, 24, was competing at the Conley Invitation bull riding competition when he was impaled in the neck by a bull's horn. The horn punctured his carotid artery, causing life-threatening blood loss. Spectators watched in horror as emergency personnel rushed to save him. Thanks to immediate medical intervention, Zachary survived. His long recovery involved surgery, rehabilitation, and immense resilience. Zachary's story reminds us of both the dangers of bull riding and the strength of human will to overcome near-death experiences. 5. Jerome Davis, A Career Altered Forever, 1996, Fort Worth, Texas. Jerome Davis, a top-ranked bull rider, faced a terrifying accident. Thrown violently from a bull, Jerome landed headfirst, fracturing and dislocating his neck. The result was permanent paralysis from the chest down, ending his competitive career abruptly. Though his time in the arena ended, Jerome's influence did not. He became an advocate for rider safety, promoting protective gear and mentoring young athletes. His story is one of tragedy transformed into purpose, showing that even in the darkest moments, courage can inspire change. Connecting the stories. Lane Frost, Mason Lowe, Dylan Grant, Zachary Nagel, Jerome Davis. 5 names, 5 lives. Different decades, different arenas, different bulls. These stories highlight the extreme courage required to face animals bred to resist control. They remind us of the thin line between triumph and tragedy and the unpredictability that defines the rodeo world.
It rid of me that easy. You know, everybody always says, "Oh, Jerome's so lucky to have you." And I said, "Nope, I'm the lucky one." They don't realize what an inspiration he is to me, too. He works harder than most people that's got their whole body that works.
Riders remind us that life is fleeting and courage comes at a cost. The Putmans, Tate Anderson, and Tyra Spalding may have shown us resilience in other stories, but in bull riding, Lane, Mason, Dylan, Zachary, and Jerome embody the ultimate test of human bravery. As we honor them, we remember that every ride is precious, every life invaluable. The rodeo world mourns their loss, but celebrates their courage, ensuring that their names and stories will live on. If these stories moved you, consider subscribing to Real Story 2. Join a community that cherishes courage, remembers the fallen, and shares the lessons of bravery, risk, and human spirit. Because while the bull arena can be a place of danger, it is also a place where the human spirit shines brightest, even in tragedy.
Plan